Sup, you fools? Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. So, after a couple of weeks taking care of personal business, I am back providing you with updates and insight when it comes to the most awesome thing in the world, Eurovision. Now, there is so much to talk about, so let's jump right into it. I mean, we all know it is all about Israel right now. Yes, they won the contest with Toy just over a month ago, and a lot has happened since that day. Now, this is not the only thing I am going to talk about going forward, but since I missed the last couple of weeks, I have some catching up to do, and we will talk about many other things going forward. In addition to that, I will not only be doing podcasts. It's just one thing of the things that I provide. We'll do more videos, so stay tuned for that. Now, why am I bringing this up? Today, another update to the never-ending hosting duties saga. The EBU and the Israeli broadcaster KAN, or if you want to call it IPBC, you can as well, they made up along with the reference group in Geneva, Switzerland to kick off the 2019 talks of the Eurovision Song Contest. I mean, as we all know, there have been discussions, plenty of them behind closed doors already, but this is a more official gathering with an actual announcement made on Eurovision.tv. So, what did we learn? Well, we learned that the host city and official dates of the contest will be made public by September, so potentially another 3 months of wait. There's currently a bidding process underway, as mentioned before, where several cities are putting forward their efforts trying to host the contest. Now let's travel back in time just a little bit, just to add some more context, if you will. As we all know, Netta announced of the night that she won the contest, "See you next year in Jerusalem." And then the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, also announced that the contest in 2019 would be held in Jerusalem, even though the government isn't really in charge of picking a host city, or at least they shouldn't be. But, as we all know, like it or not, having Jerusalem as a host city to host the contest, it sends a strong message to the world, making it a very political push, to say the least. I talked about that in my last podcast. Feel free to check that out. I will not go into all of the details this time. Fortunately, Netanyahu, along with his senior ministers, all agree now not to interfere, after all, when it comes to the host city selection process. So the EBU wants to prevent any kind of political interference. In this case, maybe just minimize it as much as possible. But just to give you a little bit more of the background, recently, the Culture and Sports Minister Miri Regev stated that Israel shouldn't host the contest if Jerusalem isn't chosen as the host city. Now, as you can imagine, that didn't sit quite well with the fans of the contest or the EBU. So, from what we're hearing, the EBU didn't have an issue with Jerusalem hosting the contest per se, initially, I guess, but a fair and transparent bidding process is necessary with at least 2 host city bids. Fortunately, several cities stepped forward, so it could be Jerusalem now, it could be Eilat, it could be Tel Aviv, or it could be Haifa. At least we have options now. Now here's the thing, the EBU said that, at least according to the source, that only non-divisive locations should be included in the bidding process. While that leaves room for interpretation, to me at least, it sounds almost as Jerusalem is a no-go if it were up to the EBU. Now, so even though the city isn't technically out of the running, I think there are a lot of reservations having the contest take place in the city that is considered by Israelis as their capital, but not by a lot of other countries due to the Palestinian situation, blah, blah, blah. I will not go into that right now, you know the story. Now, the reason for having a non-divisive host city, well, they're trying to keep the possibility of countries boycotting the contest as low as humanly possible, or even completely avoid it all the way. Now, I addressed some of that in my previous podcast as well, but several broadcasters, including Iceland, Australia, or Sweden, are reportedly considering boycotting the contest due to the political situation in Israel. Maybe not just the broadcasters, but certainly other governing bodies or prominent individuals. Now, I'm not saying it's the right or wrong thing there to do. I'm just giving you the facts here. In addition, the EBU allegedly requested from the Israeli broadcaster to transfer 11.84 million euros to their bank account. This amount will be kept until the contest next year held and will not be returned in the event that Israel is unable to host the contest. Now, it's definitely another incentive to stay on track, right? But keep in mind that this is not something unique to Israel, to be fair. A similar process was in place for in 2017 when Ukraine hosted the contest. If you recall, they also had some initial hosting issues or getting their act together, but fortunately it all worked out for them in the end. Now listen to this though. Arale Goldfinger was producer at the contest in 1999 when it was hosted in Jerusalem. Arale is saying that the EBU is actually considering moving the contest to Austria next year if things go south and the parties can't come to an agreement. What? That's crazy. But if you believe the reporting, the EBU is considering the possibility of taking away the hosting rights from Israel, or was at that point. That would be very unfortunate if you ask me. I'm not a fan of that idea. But this is what has been reported. A senior employee at the EBU voiced their concerns about the upcoming local elections in Jerusalem this November, which could result in additional political interventions. So the list goes on and on. Then Goldfinger also claimed that 20 years ago the government didn't try or bother getting involved, and just a small number of people at the Israeli broadcaster were running the show. Things were a bit different then when we only had one show to worry about. Those days are gone, gone, gone. So they didn't have to deal with the current situation, although they had other rules to overcome as well, such as honoring the Shabbat, which at this point could potentially also be another hurdle for the Israeli hosting dilemma. But we are not done yet. The Director General of the EBU, Noel Curran, I don't know how to pronounce that name, issued a warning to IPBC, the Israeli broadcaster, that it may lose its EBU membership if the Israeli High Court upholds a law splitting the news portion from the broadcaster. Now, losing your EBU status obviously means losing the right to host the contest. Jeez, my head is spinning. Now, in the statement, Mr. Curran says, I don't know why I said says, the EBU may have reservations about membership on that basis, and a new membership application would be required and subject to thorough re-examination by all the EBU governing bodies. We are not aware of any public service media organization that operates the news in a totally separate entity with a separate governance. That decision was basically made by Prime Minister Netanyahu, which, once again, could have dire consequences for the contest in Israel. Just another hurdle to overcome. Now, the law to break out the news piece passed, but is currently stuck in the court system awaiting ruling. According to media reports, the High Court may approve the split, actually, but is hoping for a delay of up to 18 months just to ensure that Israel can host the contest at least. But if there is no delay, the odds are that the broadcaster will lose EBU membership and therefore the right to host the contest. The EBU will then be deciding again at the end of June, so only a few weeks from now, whether to extend IPBC's interim membership. So let's circle back from where we started. The Israeli government, as said, advised that they are completely staying out of it, which is one step in the right direction. As per the Office of the Prime Minister, the government will act in accordance with European Broadcasting Union rules. However, there are open legal issues regarding the Eurovision stemming from matters of pending legislation that are yet before the courts. The Prime Minister instructed that the legal aspects of the matter be examined with the relevant officials before a decision is made. Yeah, not complicated at all. So, a lot of talk. Let's sum this up. Number one, the EBU insisted on a fair bidding process in Israel with at least 2 bids. We have a few bids in, we know that now, so that's good. It's no longer a Jerusalem-only kind of situation, so that particular hurdle, we're good to go. Number two, the hope is to have a non-controversial host city to avoid boycotts and other political implications. That may mean the push for another city to host, but that also doesn't mean that Jerusalem is completely out of the running. Number three, the Israeli government previously wanted to take charge or have a say in where the contest should be hosted, and to be involved also in the show, such as approving the postcards, that are shown between songs. They announced that they are going to stay out of it after immense pressure from the EBU. So yay, nothing to worry about there anymore, hopefully. Number 4, the Israeli broadcaster IPBC may split the news part of the channel, which would likely end or at least put the broadcaster's EBU membership in jeopardy. And with that, also the possibility or opportunity to host the contest. Number 5, the EBU is considering moving the contest, if needed, to a different country. Again, Austria was mentioned or being considered. Whether or not that is completely accurate, who knows? But that's where we're at right now. Now, the meeting today, as I'm hearing, went well. So maybe that means Israel as the host country is more likely now, which I'm happy to hear. But here are my thoughts, just in case you want to hear them. The fact that the Israeli government, whether it's Netanyahu or one of his ministers, were getting involved, that really bothered me. It really did. I can't defend that kind of behavior. It's different celebrating or promoting the contest from a political perspective, but politician running the contest? No bueno. That was very frustrating and really put a damper on my initial excitement about Israel hosting the contest. So the official announcement that they are staying out of it now is a relief and an encouragement. So we should just have never been in this place, from the beginning. So that was a little frustrating. So thankfully, this appears to be no longer an issue. So yay. Now, for the record, I just want to be clear. I still want Israel to host the contest for multiple reasons. It's a tradition. It's a flippant tradition. It's been such a long time, decades and decades, since we had a non-winning country host the contest. It's been way over 30 years. I don't want that to change now. B, I desperately want to go to Israel, just for selfish reasons. It's been on my bucket list for a very long time, and this would be the perfect opportunity. So don't mess this up for me, Israel. C, the fans. And I mean it. The Israeli fans are amazing, right? And when Netta won, their joy and excitement, it was just electrifying to watch that. I mean, most of them just want to enjoy the contest and host the show. I mean, it's such a cool thing. It would be such a disappointment for them if this all of a sudden wouldn't come to fruition. And D, this could have huge implications for Israel at the contest going forward. I mean, I could see them withdrawing, assuming they still have a broadcaster, if they lose the hosting rights. Man, this is such a mess. The more I think about it, I really think the best option to have the contest, or where to have the contest, is Tel Aviv. I do know that they have a venue there that is on the smaller end of the spectrum as far as like seats are concerned. I think it has like 10,000 or something like that. But that would be a pretty decent option. And possibly any of the other host places. Don't get me wrong. If Jerusalem is the host city, you can bet your bottom dollar that I will be there. I am so going. So this is not going to deter me from going. It's not about pleasing me. It's really about what's best for the contest. You don't want all the countries withdraw and really turn this into a big political shenanigan show. So that's why I'm hoping that maybe this is a fair compromise. So at this point, the two biggest questions are, will the broadcaster lose EBU status or not? That is what it comes down to, it seems. And then, of course, will the bidding process be fair? And will the broadcaster, again, assuming that they're still going to be in the EBU, pick a different host city? So I think these are the two remaining big questions we have at this point, and we'll just have to be patient and wait and see what's going to happen. We should know more a little bit more in a couple of weeks after the meeting. So this is just something that, I can't wrap my brain around anymore, but I am still confident and hopeful that they can pull it together and that we still have the contest in Israel after all, especially after today's meeting. I'm a little bit more calm about this whole thing. I'm not completely confident, but I feel better about it. But I would like to hear from you as well. What are your thoughts about this? I would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts about Israel's hosting situation. Remember, Let's be civil and respectful, or at least let's try. Let's try to be nice. Again, I will not only talk about Israel's hosting situation every single time, just the fact that I missed a couple of weeks. I had to catch up on that. My next podcast and next videos will be about something completely different, so relax. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I will talk to you all later.